welcome back to My Brain is a Wonderland, the podcast for neurodivergent women and the people who love them. You're here with your host of My Brain is a Wonderland, Emily. And today we are doing our monthly Film Fixation episode, and I am doing a special Christmas episode, and it's going to be the first Christmas Friends episode, which is actually Season 2, Episode 9, called The One with Phoebe's Dad. And this is actually a really sweet episode because I think it highlights how so many people don't have a traditional family to go to around Christmas. That's why it's called The One with Phoebe's Dad. If you know anything about Friends, Phoebe was born a twin, raised, I believe, by her mom. Her mom killed herself. Her stepdad was in prison. Her biological father left the family before she and her twin were born. And then after her mom died, she lived with her grandmother when she was an adult, and she was also homeless during her teen years. So, really emotional if you think about it. And so, let's get into it and see what happens. So we open on Monica's apartment, and Rachel, the iconic apartment, and Rachel and Monica are decorating cookies. Ross is fixing a menorah. He has like a screwdriver in the tops of the candle openings where you put the candles. I don't know what he's doing. Monica and Ross are Jewish in the show, so that makes sense there. And Phoebe is looking out the window, watching Ugly Naked Guy decorating his tree. Which I don't necessarily like the Ugly Naked Guy moniker, but that's how they talked about him back then. He used to be like Hot Naked Guy, and then he gained weight or something. In a flashback, they're like, oh no, Hot Naked Guy's gaining weight. And then he becomes, Ugly Naked Guy, which I'm like, okay, so he's ugly because he's fat now? Yeah. If you've listened to my other Friends discussions, you'll know that there's a lot of problematic stuff in Friends, but that was what it was like in the 90s, unfortunately. Then we see Chandler and Joey walk in, holding a checkbook, okay, flashback, asking how much Monica and Rachel tipped the super this year. So that's the superintendent. He's like the maintenance guy in your building. And I mean, I've never lived in like a huge apartment building. We did live in an apartment building in Oregon, and we had a house manager, and she was kind of the super. She would come around and just fix stuff if we needed it, and she lived there with her husband and family, like all her kids. We never tipped them. Ugh, is that bad? Is that something we should have done? Because we did not at all. I guess, I don't know, I'm British, so my tipping culture reference is, like, way skewed compared to Americans, so there you go. So Chandler and Joey are wanting to know how much, because they're thinking of giving $50, but they don't want it to be more than Monica and Rachel gave, or less. They just want it to be on par. And Monica and Rachel say, we made him cookies this year because we're broke. They say it's because it's personal, but actually it's because they're broke. And this is something I've done a lot in the past. When I was a kid growing up in poverty, I actually baked cookies for my grandfather for Christmas one year. I've made a bunch of gifts in the past. Even as an adult, it just makes sense to me. It is personal, but also, when you're struggling with cash, knit a scarf, man. And that'll do. And if you don't already have the knitting needles and the wool, then that's not saving money. But if you already have the stuff, or you already got flour, eggs, whatever, just make something, honestly. They say they also tipped the mailman and the newspaper delivery guy with cookies, which, again, never given my mailman anything, and newspaper delivery is so rare now. No. Right then, we hear what we later learn is a newspaper thumping against the door, indicating that the delivery guy is not happy with the cookies as a tip because he threw the newspaper at the door. He actually smushed all of the cookies into the newspaper and filled out the crossword with bad words, like he put "bite me" in one of the things, but it was something else. I'm guessing there are other words in there that they couldn't mention on TV. We then cut to Chandler, Monica, and Joey hanging out at Central Perk, the coffee shop. Ross comes in laden with bags, presumably he's gone shopping for Christmas. Nowadays, this just wouldn't happen, right? With Amazon, I miss that. I miss going out shopping prior to Christmas and after. going to all the gift shops and picking out the thing and having that experience. But God doesn't make it easier, you know? He goes to Rachel at the counter, and they're in a weird position right now. So if you know anything about Friends, Rachel and Ross did get together briefly prior to this episode, but he was like weighing up between Julie, his girlfriend, and Rachel, who he's been in love with for like a decade or two. And he made a pros and cons list, and Rachel found it and got really mad at him. So Rachel's mad at him, they're not dating, Ross is trying to kind of win her back. And he says, I got you a present. Okay, now think in your mind. You love this girl. You messed up, you annoyed her, upset her really badly to the point that she's like, get the freak out of my face. What gift are you getting this woman? Just think. Is it jewelry you're thinking of? Is it her favorite book? Is it, for Rachel, she loves fashion, a lovely scarf, a pashmina? What are you thinking? Because Ross got her a slinky. And not one of the fun multicolored plastic ones you can get in the 90s. The horrible metal one you can cut your finger on. A slinky. He starts singing the song, you know, everyone loves a slinky. Yeah. If you're millennial, you know. She's mad, and she walks off kind of disgusted. Like, dude, really? And he ends up giving the slinky to Gunther. Ross goes to show off his presents to Monica, Chandler, and Joey. He has a picture frame from Ben to his parents, which seems so cute, right? A picture frame from his child to his parents. He has hers and hers towels for Susan and Carol. That's his ex-lesbian wife and her now wife. And literally the craziest, he calls it a blouse that I've ever seen. It is a blouse for his mom, and it looks like something Michael Jackson would wear on stage. Monica makes fun of it for being, like, from the military academy. I mean, seriously, if you don't remember what this looks like, it has chains, looks like something, you know, Prince Harry would wear. It's like at a wedding or like a ceremonial funeral or something. It's ridiculous. I hope he didn't give that to his mom. And his mom is like a good dresser, but that doesn't seem like something she would wear. So I think that establishes that Ross is not good at picking out fashion and probably shouldn't have bought Rachel a pashmina or anything, but there you go. Phoebe walks in and she says her now infamous phrase that I always use, and I use the GIF like all the time. I can't wait to use it on Saturday. Happy Christmas Eve. So December 23rd. And she sees Ross's picture frame that he purchased. And you know when you buy picture frames, they have those weird-ass fake photos in, so it's like a model in the picture frame. And his picture frame has a man in it. And Phoebe says, oh, that's my dad. That's my biological dad. And that's when everyone realizes as they talk that Phoebe's mom and grandmother completely lied to her about who her dad is, because they know that that's a fake model. And it just doesn't seem like right that that's who he is. I don't even know if he's old enough in the photo. He looks kind of young. He's probably only like 10 years older than the friends in the photo. So it's like, I don't know. And so Phoebe runs off to confront her grandmother, which I'm not sure how much we see her grandmother. I can't remember another episode that Phoebe's grandmother is in. I could be totally wrong. I know she references her grandmother, like, oh, this is my grandmother's apartment, this is where she lives, blah, 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 but we, like, don't see her. So this was nice to actually see her grandmother. Phoebe confronts her grandmother in their apartment, and the grandmother admits that the guy in the photo is not her dad. Her mom just felt so crappy about the real guy leaving them, she didn't know what to say. And apparently, this is hilarious, they told Phoebe that he was a famous tree surgeon, which is, oh my god, it's such a play on famous surgeon, a famous tree surgeon, because that's not a thing, who lives in a hut in Burma where there are no phones. So that's the excuse why he's never called Phoebe, because he lives in a hut in Burma with no phones. But famous tree surgeon out in Burma, you know. That's when her mother gives her a photo of her real biological father. And Phoebe kind of looks at it, studies it, and takes it all in. Cut to Rachel, Chandler, and Joey decorating Monica's Christmas tree that's in front of the window in her apartment, and Monica and Ross walk in with stuff for her Christmas Eve party. Chandler and Joey don't have their gifts yet. People are kind of like, dude, you need to get on it, get those gifts. And Rachel shows Monica a parcel that the mailman delivered but stomped on, so we can assume that he also didn't enjoy his cookie tip. Seriously though, this is, okay, I'm sorry. This is the British coming out in me, or even not, the consumer. When I get Uber delivered, like food delivery or pizza delivery, I put a 15% tip, okay? And honestly, if there isn't a tip there, maybe I'm just waiting to tip you till after. I forgot or something, and you see all those videos now on Ring cameras where, like, Uber drivers and DoorDashers will take your food back or throw it at your door because the tip isn't good enough. Like, dude, I don't know what to tell you. 15% is a decent tip. To me, that's, like, the minimum, right? So if you do great, I'll give you a higher tip. I'm not going to take it away. Like, I don't do that. I don't do 0 tips, even if you're, like, an asshole. But 15 is, like, decent. It's a good tip. And so, I don't know, though. Like, just expecting a tip and then crushing people's physical stuff is not okay. I don't know. That just seems crazy to me that people are like, you didn't tip me for the year, your stuff's going down. It's like, all right, I don't get it, but whatever. Like, what if you didn't bring your teacher at the end of the year, like a box of cookies or Christmas chocolates or something? We're just gonna, throw your homework out the window? I don't know. It just seemed weird to me, I guess. But again, I'm British. Tipping culture doesn't exist in the UK, so I'm a little different on that side. So Ross is still trying to win Rachel back, kind of get her to just warm up to him, right? So he goes to Rachel and says, well, why don't you make a list about me? Like pros and cons, or things you don't like about me, or whatever. She very quickly starts to say all the things, saying, you're whiny, obsessive, insecure, gutless, you don't seize the day, and you wear too much gel in your hair. I mean, wow. Load that gun and fire it real quick. How long has she had those back there? And now Ross is regretting asking her this question. She walks off. We cut to Phoebe in her apartment, and she's trying to track down her biological father by calling information. She has, like, all of these, she has maps out, like, physical maps, and, like, yellow pages, like, stacks of them for different areas. And she's basically calling them and saying, okay, can I get the number for Frank Buffet? That's her dad's name. Can I get the number in Albany, which is in New York? In Saratoga? In this, they're like, we don't have it. And she's not successful. She's like, well, I don't know why they call you information, because you have no information. Her grandmother comes home and tells Phoebe, look, you're better without him, man. Like, he walked out on you, on your mom, before you were even born. And, I can't remember now, but I'm like, no, he did know they existed. I'm thinking now to the future. He knew they existed, but he didn't know that Phoebe's mom eventually kills herself, and then they end up homeless. Really sad, but still a dick. I mean, sorry. Seriously though. Don't walk out on your frickin' family. If you're gonna leave, still be present, at least, like, break up with the mom in person, but don't just, like, leave, That's frickin' terrible, man. And then Phoebe's grandmother reveals that she actually has an address for Phoebe's dad, and it's about 2 hours away to drive. And she says, Phoebe, you can borrow my cab to go visit him. As Phoebe goes to leave the apartment, she crouches down to a photo of Albert Einstein and says, wish me luck, Grandpa. Oh my God. I mean, the lies just keep on coming. Chandler and Joey are waiting outside of Central Park for Phoebe, and she pulls up in her cab. They're there to support her, but they also know they need to go Christmas shopping. So the plan is drive 2 hours. They're like, it takes like 30 minutes. Hello, goodbye, da-da-da. We drive back, we'll do our Christmas shopping. Like a true New Yorker, Phoebe kind of knows how to drive and has a cheat sheet written out telling her which pedal is the gas and which is the brake. Uh-oh. We cut to Monica's apartment, and it's really hot in there as she's preparing for her Christmas Eve party. Ross goes to the radiator to try to turn it down. He's like, man, we gotta turn this radiator down. It's funny, though. anyone who's in the UK, in Europe, there's one radiator literally hidden in an alcove in front of the bathroom, and their apartment's pretty big. I don't know that this radiator would really heat this apartment up so much. And also, they have so many windows, and it's cold, they could just open a couple of their balcony windows, and it would even out the temperature, but whatever. So Ross goes back there, and he accidentally twists the knob off the radiator, breaking it. Rachel calls the super they gave the cookies to as a tip, to fix it, but the super says he can't fix it till Tuesday, and they're assuming it's because they tipped him with cookies, and he's being like, no, not till Tuesday after Christmas. Phoebe, Chandler, and Joey pull up to a snowy house in Middletown in New York. Or maybe New Jersey. Actually, they didn't specify. It's 2 hours away. Okay, if you're in the Northeast, you probably know where Middletown is. Or is it Middleton? I don't know. How do you pronounce it? Phoebe is anxious. She can't get out of the cab. And Chandler and Joey realize this is going to take a lot longer than they thought. Cut back to Monica's Christmas party, and we see everyone literally in their underwear. Like, Rachel's wearing a negligee with, her pants on. There's people in sports bras. I think we see Gunther in his boxer shorts with an open shirt and a Christmas tie on. Rachel welcomes guests at the door, saying, "Welcome to our tropical Christmas party," which, good job. And Monica is handing out ice cube canapes. So it's a tray of ice cubes with, sticks in it. What are they called? Toothpicks. With toothpicks in the ice cubes. I mean, it is pretty funny. Then the super, Mr. Trieger, shows up at the door. He's here for the Christmas party. Heard you were having a party. And Ross keeps telling Monica and Rachel, you need to tip him so he'll fix the radiator. So Ross goes up to him and gives him $50 as a tip. And he's like, oh, thanks. And he's like, so now you'll fix the radiator now. And he's like, no, I can't get the knob till Tuesday, like I said on the phone. So Ross pushes and gives him another $50. And then Trieger says, no, I can't get the knob because the store isn't open till Tuesday. We don't have Amazon. You could order something Christmas Eve, and sometimes now you could get it the same day, or you would at least get it the day after Christmas, right? He says he actually did like Monica's cookies, and he felt like they were a really personal gift. Aww. So he wasn't mad, he's not lying, he just can't get the knob till Tuesday after Christmas. Then he tries to kiss Rachel under the mistletoe, which Rachel masterfully avoids by saying that the mistletoe is actually basil. Good job. Yeah, totally basil. They look the same. We cut back to Chandler and Joey sleeping in Phoebe's grandmother's cab, and Phoebe says that she gets back in the cab and wakes them up and says she was only able to get to the mailbox of her biological father's house. So it's clear they've been sitting there, and Phoebe's trying to kind of get out, walk up, and then she panics and comes back, and she only got to the mailbox. Phoebe then imagines out loud with Chandler and Joey all of the positives that could happen. When she sees him, that you have a dad now and it's great. But then also voices, what about all of the negatives? That he rejects you and says, I don't want you here, I don't like you. And this is Christmas Eve, guys, right? Like, Phoebe's just found out that her biological dad is alive in America, 2 hours away. That her mom, her grandmother, lied to her. I mean, God, imagine if this was you and it was like reality. And this kind of crazy stuff goes down all the time, especially around the holidays, because people get hopped up around family. Just crazy stuff goes down. Phoebe decides she's not ready to meet her dad, and they drive back to New York. Aww. She's going back to her chosen family, I guess. And her grandma, They get back to Monica's apartment, and Joey asks if he can turn the heat down. He's like, dude, what the hell? He tells Monica, he goes to the radiator, and he tells Monica, the knob is broken, so I turned it off from underneath. I hope that's all right. Everyone turns and stares at Joey in disbelief. And this is one of the most annoying things about how the show developed, is that Joey was such an amazing character early on. He was intelligent in a common sense, street smarts way, and was really would look at them and say, like the other friends, and say things like, there was one episode where they're hanging around in Central Park, And they're all talking about how their bosses hate them. And Joey's like, well, maybe they hate you because you're at a coffee shop at 3 p.m. on a Wednesday. Like, he was so snappy and clever, and no one else knew how to fix the radiator. I mean, think about it. Even the super, who this is his job, was in the apartment and said, I can't get the knob. I mean, he could have said, if he knew, clearly he didn't know, you can just turn it off underneath if you want. So I hate how they dumbed Joey down in the future seasons when they kind of just ran out of ideas and kind of ways to go with him. But I loved early Joey. He was very like the working class hero, common sense, intelligence, knew what to do when the friends needed it, and was there for everybody. And then the credits kick in, but we always have in American sitcoms that final little prologue. Epilogue? Oops. Prologue is first. I think epilogue is last. And we see that Chandler and Joey did not have time to do their Christmas shopping. Their party actually goes past midnight, so it's Christmas. You know, once it hits after midnight, it's Christmas Day. And so they're after the party giving out gifts, but they didn't have time to go shopping. So we see them handing out wiper blades and new car smell freshener to Rachel. She does not have a car. They give toilet seat covers to Phoebe. She is very excited about them, bless her. They give a can of cola. It's funny how you have to say cola if it's not Coke. You can't say Coca-Cola, right? Because that's the brand. You have to say cola. And a can of lemon lime for Ross. And they give ribbed condoms to Monica, which Ross and Monica then switch their gifts. So Ross takes the condoms and Monica takes the drinks. And that is how the Christmas episode ends. We actually don't even see Christmas Day, which now looking back at it is somewhat genius. It's an entire episode about Christmas without actually being on Christmas Day. And I wonder if that's because it was the first Christmas episode and it was in season 2. Season 1 did not have a Christmas episode. They had a Thanksgiving and New Year's episode in season 1. But I wonder if it's because we're assuming that Joey's going to go home for Christmas to Queens. Maybe Monica and Ross are going to go to Christmas in New Jersey with their parents. Maybe Rachel is going to go home, I think also to New Jersey. Or are they in upstate New York? I forget. To her parents. And then Chandler, we don't know what he's doing because he hates his parents and hates holidays, so who knows? But that's how it ends. And I hope everyone has an amazing Christmas season. I hope, or holiday season, whatever you're celebrating. And even if you're not celebrating, I hope you get a break from work. Even if you didn't, maybe there's a bit of a wind down, unless you're in retail. And I hope you had a great year. I will be seeing you for one more episode before 2024, and before I launch season 3 after a couple of repeat episodes in January. So I hope you were good to yourself this year. I hope you looked after yourself. I hope you have someone who can look after you. And I hope you get everything you want for Christmas. Emotionally, physically, mentally. All right, guys, I ran out of words. I'll see you for the next episode 2 days after Christmas. I'm Masking ADHD on My Brain is a Wonderland Season 2.